Welcome back. This is Raya Karen with Roots to Wellness podcast. I am an intuitive holistic nature therapy guide or ecotherapist if you want to be fancy. And I have taken my 25 years experience in the therapy field and opened my own private practice that is unique and different and all my own. So the great thing about this space is we get to share some fun information and conversations, not only with myself, but with some beautiful guests that are coming to join me on this platform and share their journeys with the world. It is super fun to be able to navigate all of the fun things in life, meeting people and having experiences. And this is just yet another one of those. I am a wife, a mother, a daughter, an auntie, and I am my own individual, unique, authentic self as well. So get ready, tune in, grab your favorite tea or coffee, and come along with us and laugh and just be in the moment and have some fun. Take care, and thank you for joining us here today.
So, I'm so excited to have you here. I have Amanda Marie from Nature Babes all the way over in Ontario. So, yeah, I want to just dive in with her today and share. We have so many similar things that we love to do in nature and healing and all these great things. She does a lot of sound bath work, Nature Babe retreats, individual healing. She's just starting some super fun online offerings as well, which is just brand new baby that she's releasing. She's a medium and a healer and a messenger of truth and high vibe frequencies. So really tuning in and tapping into people intuitively and into their guides and into people who have passed, into their angels, all those kinds of things, and bringing messages that aren't always easy for us to see, right? Because we're on, just from coming from trauma, from chaos and craziness. So she just brings us into this beautiful container of nurturing and healing and gets to reconnect us back to ourselves and back to that self-healing, self-nurturing, self-love, self-acceptance. And we get to do it not only in her beautiful facility, but out in nature. She's got, I think, like 86 or 89 acres available to her, which is just amazing. So please introduce yourself, share like, how did you get to this beautiful space and Nature Babes and how did this blossom? Where'd you find it?
Well, I guess coming from the fitness background, I've always, wanted to inspire people and motivate people. And I was in fitness since I was 22 years old. So that was my passion for a huge part of my life. But it wasn't until, just a few years ago that I literally woke up and I was like, I'm ready to sell my building. I'm ready to make this switch. And I would say it was probably a little bit of spirit. It was probably a little bit of an awakening, spiritual awakening. I had some times where I was just walking, in through the bush and just being like, I really want to work from home. I want to be able to spend more time with my son. And I want to be able to really help women on a deeper level of self-acceptance and self-healing and self-love. And I knew by working with women all through my beginning of my career with fitness, it was very much so the physical aspect. It was working on the outside of the body, but not so much the spiritual aspect of working on inside. So, gosh, there was lots of clues that things I found were really, really working. Some things were working really well in my business, and some things felt like a real struggle. It was like, okay, what isn't flowing? And like, for instance, trying to find, enough help, because I was so busy and I needed more personal trainers to come on board with me. And that seemed like that was a struggle of resistance. And then people always wanted to train with me. They didn't want to train with anybody else. So that was another type of resistance. I was like, what is going on? I felt probably for a deep time that I was made for something more. And I always say to people, and you probably heard this, the two most important dates of your life are the day that you were born and the day that you find out why you're here.
Yeah,
Your purpose.
absolutely. It's so powerful, isn't it?
Yeah. And I thought I'm supposed to be a trainer. I'm living my best life, but there was something missing and I wasn't answering the call. And when spirit and angels and guides are knocking and showing you things and throwing it into your face, and you're like kind of just ignoring it because you're like, I'm on my path. I'm supposed to do this. Like, I'm having a good time. I'm making good money. I love what I'm doing. But yet there was still this yearning of really wanting to help women on a deeper level. So, fast forward to there, I, started not training women anymore. At my studio, I had a 4,000 square foot studio. And a lot of times I would be talking to my clients. We would just be in my office. We wouldn't even make it to the training room because they just wanted to talk and they just wanted to release. And they just had so much they had on their plate and on their mind. So that was my first aha moment. I was like, I'm taking these people's money and now I'm not even training them. Like we're not even doing anything in the gym. I'm like, this doesn't feel authentic. This doesn't feel like I'm really helping them. I'm not serving them. Although I really was in a way. So that was my first aha moment. I was like, something has to change. I need to help women on a larger scale. When you really figure out that it wasn't about me. Like sometimes ego gets us to think that it's all about me and it's all about me. But then it was a very strong wisdom guide feeling while I was walking in the bush. And it was like, this is a legacy. This is something so much bigger. This isn't about you. This is about everybody else that needs to experience this journey along with you. So I sold my building in 6 weeks. It was super fast. I did not know what the heck. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. People were asking me if I was sick. People were asking me, my husband was like, are you okay? Like, what's the matter with you? And I was like, I don't know. I just got to do this. I need to sell. It was very fast. And I came up with the name Nature Babes. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going from fitness to nature. And a lot of the fitness people, I mean, I really shook up my small town because I was one of the first trainers in, that community that got certified. So I had been a real, a face in the fitness industry for over 11 years. So for me to make that quick switch 6 months before the pandemic, it really shook a lot of people. I know I got a lot of phone calls and a lot of messages, are you sure you're doing the right thing? And I was like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but I know that I need to trust. And I need to trust my guides and this inner wisdom feeling that it wasn't about me. It was about leading this beautiful group of women to connect them with nature. And that's all I really knew at the beginning. But it took crazy amount of courage. Like, I mean, I sit here and I talk to you and it makes it sound so easy. And it wasn't super easy. There was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of losing my identity of who I had been for all of these years.
Mhm.
And then to be like, okay, I'm going to take women to nature.
But you must, it's interesting because like you said, you kind of you're trusting this, these messages that are coming in. Cause I think, we daily, there's stuff coming at us all the time. And, whether it started when we were young or, we're kind of going back to those connections we had, or there was always these kind of aha moments or these pieces. And, you learned what it was like to help somebody on the outside because that's what that's where you headed, which you learned a lot about people and how they work. And you also got to see inside of them on a, like, sure, you were helping them here, but because you're very intuitive and very, very much very spiritual and you could see so much more. That's hence, like you're saying, you're sitting in your office, you're like, oh my God, people are paying me, but they're paying you because they can feel on a completely different level that you get them. You see them as this whole being, this whole person. And so it makes sense that you learned this piece so that you can understand what people are searching for and looking for. And it is so much deeper than just, the fitness and lifting weights and feeling good. If you feel good on the inside, that actually works even easier, right? So
And
it's
moving your
interesting.
body is so important. I mean, if you want
Yeah.
to move these things up here in the spiritual world,
Yeah.
you need to move your body down here in the
Yes.
physical world
Yeah.
to bring it down. So
Yeah.
they go hand in hand for sure.
Well, and I think it's interesting too, because, as we get, into energies and all these kinds of things, people who are feeling stuck and, pain in the body and frustrated and all these things that they're feeling, when you go out into nature, you move through it. You're wandering, you're doing things in nature. Yes, you're being there, but you're doing it in a very different way, whether you're doing some yoga poses or sound healing or meditation, visualization, all of these things, and tuning into your senses and the elements of nature. You're bringing people back to themselves so that they can work on their gift of who they are, and they're getting to, just understand themselves in a whole different way. So you mentioned to me too, I think way back in many of our conversations, so you were kind of burnt out as well too, like not just you were seeing these signs, but you were exhausted, you were burnt out. I don't know if we spoke about adrenal fatigue, things like
Yes.
that. So there were other messages physically that were coming in for you as well, right?
I was completely burnt out.
Mhm.
It seemed like after I had my son, my business like duplicated. It just got so much busier. And of course, having a new baby, that makes everything busier too. But it definitely felt like I was burning the candle at both ends.
Yep.
And it definitely felt like I had been doing that a lot longer than just, feeling the intensity or balancing everything with just having a new baby. Yeah, exhaustion for sure. I definitely, it took me 2 years. I want to say it took me 2 years to recover. I was always having to be on and always having to have caffeine in my body, always needing to do these fitness classes. And I was so hard on myself that I needed to show up 110%.
Yeah.
And I really just gave everyone all of me all the time. And now I know now I know more about my soul and who I am. And I'm just like, oh, Amanda, you can never do that again. So it's obviously I feel that comes with practice and knowledge and being aware, and having experienced it, obviously. Sometimes we just love with all of our hearts, and it's great. I mean, I love all of my memories with all of my clients. They've shaped me, and there's no doubt they've shaped me into the woman that I am today. But protecting the energy and knowing more about the energy was something completely new to me, stepping
Yeah.
into, working in the spiritual world. And, that was new. So I really needed to switch gears. I needed to find my voice in my new business. And I really needed to figure out what that identity of me looked like, and what was really filling up my cup, and what was really inspiring me. And I don't feel like I work anymore. Like I know I said, like, I literally am living so into my purpose that
Yeah.
everything just flows. And when I jump on a coaching call, or when I do a mediumship reading, or when I, facilitate a retreat, it's just more of a flow of filling. I get so filled up, and it's just
Yep.
a full release of energy that, it makes me think, man, like I get now, why there's so many people just stuck in this vortex of doing and doing and doing.
Yeah. Well, I think
And
we're pretty programmed to be that way. And especially as women, we're the doers. We carry everything on our shoulders. We have these, we can multitask like nobody's business. As my oldest daughter would say, Mom, it's actually not possible, but your brain can't multitask. You know that, right? I'm like, oh, well, okay. But it does make sense, because we want to do all these things and have all these things and be all these things, but we're not actually meant to do that. And, and I think you and I are similar that way. We're really helping people disconnect from that doing mentality, coming back to being, and holding this sacred space for people to be and to release and to come down. It's like we've been like up here on like high vibe all the time. And as
I
you
don't even
see
know if
people,
it's high vibe. It's like
it's just
burnout.
it's chaos.
It's chaos.
It is. Yeah. It's chaos vibe. Right. And so we're bringing them back to this more grounded nature space, and where they can literally breathe and, start taking some of that load off of their shoulders and let it go, and realize that they don't have to carry that to be their best selves. It's so interesting to witness that. And I'm sure you're seeing that in your work too, is just witnessing this beautiful blossoming and uncovering of your clients as they step into something brand new and different, because it is. And, we have this full energy that we do with, like I can see your glow, and you just, when you talk about it, you light up. And I get the same feeling. Like at the end of the day, I'm not tired. I'm like revved to go, because I've done exactly what I love to do. I mean, this is my background. I'm in nature. I'm with the birds and the trees and the lake, and I'm nurturing people, and it's like super, super amazing. So what is it like for you to see your clients just step into that and just kind of have that aha moment, or that release that they've been needing for years?
It's, at the beginning, there's a bit of resistance, because the logic of the mind is that they're really trying really hard to figure it out. Like they're trying to be like, how do I connect with nature? I got asked that question at the beginning so many times. Like, is there a certain formula, or like, what do I do to connect? And when I lay it out for them, and we go for our, in-depth forest walks, it's really about pulling back those layers of the mind control and the logic of trying to figure it all out, and all the doing, and quieting the mind, and getting you just to be in that moment, tapping into your 5 senses. What can you see? What can you smell? What can you touch? What can you hear? What can you taste? So those are our sensors. Those are like, if you think of, the human, your brain, those are like your little sensors that are all around you. People have no idea how magical and that they are vibrating, that we are vibrating in a physical body. Like people, we forget. I think over the years we just get so conditioned. So when I break some things down and really get them to understand, they can step into their power. We do some howling along the river that really, gets them fired up and gets them to release. I mean, sometimes a lot of tears, tears flow, but they're happy tears. They're like, Amanda, I'm so thankful that you taught me how to slow down, and the awareness of why. You can't hear shit if you are going 100 million miles an hour and you're doing all the doers as women, and you're hustling hard. And that's where I came from, was the hustle and the grind, and you can't hear the whispers of your soul when you are grinding and hustling and doing and doing and doing. God, yes. You just can't. So it is very, it's a beautiful thing, holding space for women, to see them really authentically step into this feminine wisdom and really owning their power and cultivating it and feeling their ancestral wisdom through the roots of the soil, and just allowing them to move freely with their body. It's magic. It's magic.
It's so magical.
I bring the nature and the spiritual together to give women just that deeper journey of reconnecting, with their experience of self-love and self purpose, and figuring out, what they're here for. And I always say to my clients that I'm here to walk with you, beside you. I'm not in front of you. I'm not behind you. I'm beside
Lincoln.
you. Yeah. And I think that is huge. I feel that as women, we're always competing, this old matrix vortex of, it's not really lifting each other up. It's more, I can do that better, or we're seeing what someone else is doing and then feeling bad because we can't do it as well. We're not here to compete. We're here to really shine our individual light. So
it's amazing, and it's so fun. I had even somebody yesterday. I've known a couple of ladies I was born and raised in my community, so I'm known. And I see them, we're downtown, and they're like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. And, people are starting to come back out of the woodwork after this, crazy time we've been in. And they're like, when did we first meet? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. And, so I'm going back through time and how we first met. And then they're like, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of doing the same kind of work, but yet it's not. I'm on my own. I've got my own practice, and I'm, incorporating all these things. And they're like, oh, so you're like a healer kind of thing, right? I'm like, yeah, basically that's what I do. And I said, but we don't have to sit in an office. We get to be out in nature, and I was trying to, because for some people, they're like, what the hell do you actually do? So when you kind of have to, and each person, I find you describe it differently too.
Absolutely.
And so it was really cool because, there's connections back to when I worked at the women's safe house and the working with abused women and their dependent children. These two ladies I met back then. So like 17, 18 years ago. And they always see me, and we're always acknowledge each other. And, they're coming from some heavy trauma. So I'm describing all this stuff to them. And, about going back to our roots and back to nature. And so it was just really neat for them. They were just like, this is so cool. You mean it's not like your typical counseling? I'm like, nope, it's not. It's all my own. And this is how I see the world. This is how I want to bring people back to being centered and grounded and in nature, and being able to, celebrate who you are and all of those beautiful gifts that you have and all of these things. It's so fascinating when you can describe it to people who've seen you through different stages of your life, and just watch them kind of like try to put the puzzle pieces together. We're going to get some rain.
I think because it's been so conditioned that, you know, for therapy or counseling, it's strictly, or teaching, it's done in an office, in a room with a pencil and a journal, which, I mean, I'm not against journaling. Journaling's great, but I mean, can you imagine right now if every single one of our school systems, you know, were outside, like with their feet on the grass? You know, that connection is huge. We're not seeing, you know, people that are in the city and people that are in town, you know, and we can ask, you know, when's the last time you had your socks off with bare feet and put them on the ground?
I got bare feet right now.
Are you? Yay!
Always.
Like, it sounds so simple, but I can't believe the amount of people that really have not done that since they were a kid. Or maybe never have done that. Like, even with tree hugging, I'm like, yep, I'm a tree hugger. I'm going to show you my favorite tree and you're going to hug her. And they're like, oh, I've never hugged a tree. I'm like, well, today's your day.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the super fun part too, is just taking people into that, you know, kind of playfulness.
Absolutely.
Happen for people now.
Yep. You're breaking up just a little bit.
My Wi-Fi. There we go.
Okay, good. And then I always encourage them to that, you know, we are nature. Like, nature is part of us. So there isn't no disconnection. So sometimes when we're really trying hard to get connected to nature, it's because we're already connected. We just need to reconnect on a deeper level.
Yeah. And that's like kind of that disconnecting to reconnect back to self, right? Disconnecting from the expectations and the chaos and the busyness of life back to ourselves, which is huge.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting under my faithful spruce here.
I love that tree. Oh my goodness.
I had to get out. It's just drizzling rain. Not that I'm afraid. I'm not made of sugar. I'm not afraid to melt, but I just figured, you know what? Yeah, it's neat because you know, that barefoot part, and I don't know if you notice this with the ladies that you're working with, it's like they feel like they're just like that childlike side again, that playfulness comes out, that sense of wonder and excitement. At first they're kind of like, oh, well, I'm not sure. And then after, you know, within a few minutes, they're like, damn, like, can we play in the mud too? Can we do this? Can we hug trees? Can we just, you know, and it's bringing that little inner child inside that is just dying and screaming to come out and play. You know, like, it's just like it's been knocking on the door going, please come out and play with me. Please come out and play with me. Yeah. And then you see them just tune in. It's inner child work. It's inner child healing, but done in such a unique way that you don't even realize you're doing what you're doing when you're in it and you're experiencing it. And, you know, I mean, you have a son who is, you know, very playful and really in tune with nature and all these great things too. And so I think we get reminded of those things by our children that we either have of our own or that we work with. And, you know, that brings us back to that sense of being and being playful and excited and all those things that, you know, we do lose with all these expectations and all this kind of chaos and busyness. And I work with youth on my side. So I work with a lot of trauma, and I do a lot of art and play therapy and nature stuff. And it is so fun because you get people who are, you know, they're really guarded because they've had lots happen. And as you slowly break down that wall and you watch them become, even if they're 13 or 14 and they're like, oh, like, that's not cool, I'm not going to do that. And then, you know, same thing, they start to go, oh, well, this is kind of weird, but it's kind of cool at the same time. And then they slowly start to come into it and they're a whole new person. And it's like you give people this beautiful gift box that's just made for them, and they get to pull from us, whether it's sound healing or meditation or playing in nature, and they get to add all these beautiful tools and gifts to this box and fill it just for them.
I like that. Yeah.
Like,
and I just feel like our children are really here to teach us to slow down, and we're living way too fast.
Yeah.
Way too fast. We're running around, and I know we touched base on that a bit, but I really feel our children are here to teach us.
Yeah.
They're here to teach us to slow down. They're here to bring out our playfulness. I mean, how many parents really get down on the floor and play with their kids?
Not anymore.
Right.
Well, and I think, that's when you open up that door for them, they're willing to go through it. But, because of all these, they're exhausted, they're burnt out, they're having to be on, like you said, all the time, like 110%, got to be the mom, got to have to clean the house, got to have, my kids got to be dressed and ready for school. They've got to do this. They've got to be in every sport. They've got da, 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 da. Like, oh my God, it makes me tired thinking of that list. And what if you don't do that? What if you actually look at it differently, have more time to play, more time to experience and do? You don't have to go to Mexico or Hawaii to do that. You can do that in your own communities, in your own forested areas, in your own parks. Like, I think we feel too that we have to provide all this, technology and fancy trips and all of these things to our children, but they just want us. They want our time and our presence.
Absolutely. And even I do need to share this with you. I do find that when I go for forest walks with my son, we do some howling with him pretty much every day. I swear he howls. Yeah. And I think it like has such a release for him, for like temper tantrums or, not wanting to do something. It really kind of resets, I feel, the brain just to let him scream or howl or let it out. It's definitely a release. Yeah. And I think it's a release that he can relate to, like that he, that he can just do. Mind you, we always do it outside, so it's not like if you're feeling really angry, then go outside and scream or but I mean, I don't if you're in town, that might not work so well, but I have noticed that doing that release with him has been really enlightening to see. It's neat. Hey, and I remember too that he's also very in tune with not just nature but also animals, because you guys have had some really super cool experiences with deer, and I mean, watching that, that connection, and I'm watching it from way over here, so I'm watching it virtually, but just the energy exchange and the beautiful magic that brings, and he's super connected like that. That is just fascinates me. Yeah, we lost our dog. He was a pug, and 2 weeks later, we were walking through the forest, through our trails, and all of a sudden, this baby deer just literally was watching us and came right up, and my son Jack just started asked if he could pet it, and then we didn't really know it was a buck, so it could have been jumpy, but he just warmed right up to this deer, and this deer would come and visit us pretty much every couple days. He would come right up to the house, and we weren't even feeding him. He would just all of a sudden wander out. So it got to be a regular thing for a whole summer. My son literally would have a shower or a bath, and then as soon as he was all cleaned up in his pajamas, it just seemed like, oh, the deer's here. So he would be on the deck, and then all of a sudden we would just go down and visit with this deer. So yeah, it really, when you see nature, well, from this was my first experience in witnessing this, but
Mhm.
it was just so magical. Something that you would think happens out of a movie was happening right in my backyard. And I was like, what is happening? Like, are my eyes really seeing this? Like, my
Yeah.
son is like got his arms around this deer and is hugging him, and he's got his name. He wants to bring him in the house. He wants him, he can have a bath. And I'm like, what is happening? So, and it really feels like nature, just, the property and the feel and the energy. It's
Mm.
so honored and like that animals feel safe, that they can just come and feel that vibration. They obviously
Mhm.
felt, the love that
Yeah.
we have. They wanted some of it.
Well, and that's, it's just such a, an amazing experience. And, you guys shared that as a family, but you were also sharing it with other people, which was super cool. And the journey of that, and kind of, just authentically as it was happening and coming into your family. And it brought that, that awareness and understanding of, being super present and coming back to that grounded place, and this is a place that, you've created to be very safe container, not only for now your clients, but like you said, everything that's there, whether it's
Hmm.
the trees, the water, the animals, the birds, the whatever it is, you
Hmm.
have literally surrounded your property in this gorgeous energy. And obviously that was just shown to all of us with that whole process.
Yeah,
And
I've seen more wildlife since I've started Nature Babes, and been more present and more
mm,
aware and raised my vibrational frequency. And you're
yeah,
right, creating this container, we have seen way more wildlife. We went all the way up north on a family trip for a whole entire week, and all we
mhm,
seen were ducks. and
yeah,
and my husband's like, we have seen so many animals, like from skunks to groundhogs to deer to bunnies to beavers. We really
yeah,
just turkeys and owls and eagles. Like, we've just seen so much in this space. So it is
wow,
about being present and being aware, and
hmm,
taking it all in. If and believing. If you don't believe in miracles, then you're probably never going to see them, or they're never going to really happen. But the deer, I feel, was definitely a magical
hmm,
experience.
yeah,
Um, Even my husband, till this day, he was like, I have no idea, like, how, or like, it just took him. He would be cutting the grass back there on the lawnmower, and the deer would just mosey on up. So
yeah,
he's like, even the lawnmower doesn't scare him.
yeah. It's
So,
so fascinating, so fascinating. Um, and it is about being super present and aware. And I do a lot of work. Well, I mean, ours is just so similar, it's crazy. But bringing people into the elements. We've got the element of air, whether it's through our breath work or through the wind and the breeze. Bringing people back to the earth, and bringing people into fire energy, whether that's the sun or the moon or actual fire that we're building and bringing energy. And then the water energy, which is, whether it's a lake, water, stream, river, creek, whatever it is, ocean. There's so many possibilities. And when we're bringing people back to those elements, and tuning in and using them as our tools for healing and nurturing, um that's also just another part of it. You've got all those elements there too. You're on the river. You had that beautiful sunset last night. It's funny, you had a gorgeous sunset, we had an amazing on fire sky too. And you don't miss those little moments when you're really present. I always joke I'm chasing sunrises and sunsets and full moons and, like, northern lights and all these great things. But it literally, the more that you tap in, the more magical it becomes. I don't know if you're noticing that
yeah,
too. The
and
more
it's almost like
time.
it finds you, because
Yes.
you're vibing, you're
Yeah.
you're raising that frequency, and you're
Yeah.
vibrating. The abundance is running through you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're bringing it from here: the earth, the fire, the sun, the water, all of that stuff. and you're attracting it. Like
Yeah.
attracts like. So you are literally this manifester that is just co-creating all of these beautiful things that you get to witness, but it's just duplicating it.
Yeah.
It's
And
really interesting.
so take us through like a little bit. You have this beautiful facility too, where I've seen you set it up for these gorgeous, full moon events and sound baths. And, you've created this, not only the outdoor space, but this beautiful indoor kind of oasis as well that you're using for your different events and things that you're doing with people. How did that even come about? Like, it's gorgeous, and you've obviously put a lot of thought and intuition and energy into that.
Yeah, it's actually an additional building on the property. So where my studio is and where I'm facilitating our events and our full moon evenings and sound bath meditations is a previous building that my family and I used to live in, actually, while like for a couple years. We lived there. It was so my husband's parents have owned this property. The land has always been in the family,
Okay.
and so it was a kind of like a garage. It has a garage door, so it was used kind of for a garage storage. But over the years, my brother-in-law upgraded a whole bunch of stuff, put a bathroom in, put power in, and like over the years, this building has been used for a lot of different things. Even my mother-in-law, she's passed now, but she actually had her antique store in this building. So
Neat.
this building has been utilized for so many different things.
Yeah.
But it's definitely served a purpose. We thought that it would just be a guest area or a guest spot. But now we've turned it into the Nature Babe studio. So we've done a lot of healing work. We've done a lot of blessing the room and just really cultivating that energy in the room and getting that feel, so that when people come in, they kind of feel it very light. We've done a lot of light drapes and really things flowing. So there's a lot of lightness in that room, just to allow people to release. And it's worked very, very well. It's not an overly huge space, but it's cozy. And it's just made for, and it's worked beautifully now for our company and allowing people to have indoor space. Sometimes the weather doesn't always cooperate. So
no, it doesn't. No.
Mother Nature can happen differently all the time. She has a mind of her own. So having a little bit of indoor space has really helped me be able to keep events rolling, right?
Yeah.
Especially if we have a pop-up storm or something.
Yeah. Well, it's really neat because I can see that, like I say, from here and on your website and with your photography and your videos and things that you're sharing, like even from here, from, one of my like 3,000 kilometers away, I just feel so calm and at ease. And, like I could lay there in the sound bath for hours and just feel just revived and regenerated. So if I'm getting that feeling here, and I think you're starting now to just start to dip into offering this stuff via the internet, or what do you want to call, virtual sessions. And so you've already created this beautiful container, and now you're able to start to bring people in a new way. So I'm excited to try that piece of it, because I the sound healing to me is just another beautiful, gorgeous add-in. And even I know for myself, when I tune into some of the really good, people playing the sound bowls and things like that, like it's literally, you can feel you don't have to be in the same room. Like you can feel that energy. It's intense. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And it literally, you embody all of it. And
it really just helps really move all of that stagnation. Energy it gets bottled up inside of us. It gets bottled up in our subconscious, but our body in different areas can hold on to energy, and it can cause us pain and discomfort and tiredness and all of those things. So sound is one of those things, you know, we have all of these chakras and they turn like little propellers, and we're
Yeah.
really just trying to, you know, bring the body back to its natural state
Mhm.
by, you know, by vibrating the cells so
Yeah.
that so that they can release any stagnation, any bottled up um, energy that's not supposed to be there, so
Yeah.
that things flow and channel through us. So yeah, that part has really been amazing to offer that for our clients. And yeah, you're right, I am going to be you know, really tapping into walking people through meditating and manifestations, and
Mhm.
doing a signature online chorus. So
Mhm.
where that they'll be able to stay in a container with me for 6 months, and I will be coaching them and keeping them accountable and mentoring them on the different tools that you need to stay grounded and centered and listening to the whispers. And so I'm
Yeah.
really excited to start offering some more things online. um,
Mhm.
how are your winters? Do you get winter? Like, you must get a lot of
We
snow.
we do. I mean, it's pretty, and maybe not. This year we did kind of have a little bit more of a drawn out winter. It kind of depends. We're at least, I would say, by the end of November, beginning of December, we're getting snow.
Yep.
Depends on the year. Sometimes it's a little later, and then by late March, it's starting to flip the other way slowly. So, and then this year kind of got drawn out for people a little bit, it felt like, but I think it's just in the times that we've been in. So I love getting, like, we've got the very distinct seasons, which is really, really nice, because I find that with each season comes different things, comes different healing, different stuff as well, right? So I think you're pretty
Mhm.
much the same that way, like you with winter and spring
Yeah,
and fall, summer.
we
Yeah.
get all seasons, and
Yeah.
I like that. It is true. We do go. Our bodies go through a season
Yep.
when Mother Nature is going through her seasons.
Yeah.
We're going through our seasons as well. So and
And
you've probably
nurturing that.
recognized, yeah, we're a
Yeah.
lot different. I'm a lot different in the summertime than I am in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And honoring that and accepting that, where before I was like so like forcing and resisting, like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I take on so much stuff? And why can't I
Yeah.
do this? And it's like, you're in a season. So
Yeah.
it's, you're able to tap in more inwards. So
Well, and it's interesting. Like, I find a lot of my discussion lately is with the season of winter, which we just came out of, is very much that time to slow down, to go within, to do some of that deeper work, that resting, that nurturing on a deeper, more soul level. And it's so interesting. And then you come out of that into spring, and it's like everybody's just waiting for the longer days, more sunshine, everything to pop and grow and come back. And that I mean, you can hear in the background the busyness of the birds and life, and things start happening, and you can just see people, they're just rise like so quickly with that energetic nature change.
it's
And
like a
now
rebirth.
it is like, and I that's where the magic of spring is. Just, it is that rebirth of everything, of yourself, of nature, of all things around you. And then we're getting ready now for the summer solstice in a couple of weeks. So that's another thing, you can see leading up to that is, that's the longest day of the year. That's another great time for more kind of great healing and manifesting and growth and change. And that takes us kind of through that beautiful summer where sometimes we can tend to get busier and doing more because we just want to soak it all in because it's beautiful and nice, and then so it's neat to actually go with people, like you said, we're walking together, we're linking arms, we're nurturing each other on this journey. And it's about going together and meandering along and having these experiences in a really unique way. And I think that's um, for a lot of the healing that we're doing with people is, we're not ahead, we're not behind, we're with, and we're beside, we're along, we're with you on this path.
They
And
might not,
when,
they're not, we're not here to change people.
no,
We're not here to be like, you need to stop your busy life and you need
yeah,
to get out into nature every single day and ground and da 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 da.
yeah,
Like we're not, it needs to flow, and it needs to be something
hmm,
that you can add in and
yeah,
take that time out. Maybe it's just 5 minutes, maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe
hmm,
it's just a quieting the mind and just being still.
hmm.
Um, but
That
I find you
real,
start to crave it.
you
I don't
do.
know about you, but I crave it. If I'm not
Yep.
out in nature, I actually start to, my body craves it. I need that grounding time.
Hmm.
I need to feel there's a deeper sense, since I've been doing this for a couple years, there's a deeper sense of support that I feel from Mother Nature. It's
Yeah.
like she's got me.
Yeah.
That trust that I've
Yeah.
learned now to lean
Yeah.
into, where
Yeah.
before it was probably more like control, control, control. I need to control. I need to know the outcome of everything. And where, and I still go through maybe times in my life where I'm like that, but when
Mhm.
I get into nature, it's very much so, hey, you got me. You're
Yeah.
holding this space for
Mm.
me. I'm
You can
holding
lean
the
in.
space for myself. You're
Yeah.
holding the space for me. It's, yeah, you can lean in and you can feel this deep wisdom from the
Hmm.
trees and from the forest whispers. And, really, it's a practice. It gets
It is.
better and better the more and more you do it. It seems
Hmm.
very awkward and weird the first time you go into nature and we get you to do these tools and these things, and you're like, whoa, this is maybe too much for me.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like I always let people know, like, that's okay if this feels weird. Like it felt weird for me too at the beginning. I was like, what what are the trees going to teach me?
Well, have you found that? Like I have found, I'm just thinking of my big faithful old spruce behind me. There's been a few people that, we've kind of done the work with the trees and um, whether it's the hands and or hugging or really leaning in. And it's quite a very strong energetic exchange. And for
Mhm.
some people, it's almost overwhelming and really potent. And it almost scares them because they're like, what the hell just happened? How do I deal with this? I'm like, okay, it's okay. Just
Yes.
breathe. And, when you kind of explain, the trees and the root systems and the, all this electricity that is happening within us, but also within the trees.
Yes.
I find sometimes the more people are uh, stuck, or there's something that's trying to come through, whether it's messages or it's something, some of us even that are more highly sensitive, that is like one of the most powerful experiences. And it does scare people. Like you said, it's weird. So have you found that with kind of working with that same thing? Have you had people that are like, holy crap, like, what is
Yeah,
this? Okay.
absolutely. There's an area in the forest that I take women to, and it just seems like there'll always be one person in the group that will be brave enough to be like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And we forget everything is vibrating.
Yeah.
Every single thing is vibrating. The trees, your cells, everything is energy.
Yeah.
Everything is vibrating. So it's kind of hard for us to see that because we don't see it actually vibrating, right?
Yeah. We just feel it.
We just feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been a lot of times where women have been like, Amanda, did you feel that like whoosh of energy? And I said, well, I was over here. I didn't feel it where you were, but they were just, they had an aha moment in nature.
Yeah.
And that was, that happened repeatedly for probably the first 6 months when I first started. And I would say, they would be writing me testimonials and I would forward them to my husband because this was so new to me. I was like, this was before you and I even connected. I was like,
Yep.
I don't even know, like these women are having like, some really in-depth experiences here.
Yep.
And I would forward it to my husband, and my husband's like, whoa, because he was still trying to figure out, like, what are you doing with
What do
these
you
women?
do?
Like, what do you do? Like,
Yeah.
and he's trying to tell people, like, oh, your wife started a new business called Nature Babes. Yeah. Well, what does she do there? Yeah.
Stuff.
Right. So it was something that, I was trying, that's why I was sending him the testimonials, so that he could get a little bit of an understanding of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Even though my guides were like, you don't have to have it all figured out, Amanda, just go with your intuition. Just, this is what they need.
Yeah.
And, yeah, a lot of whoosh energy, even like, feeling energy close to their ear or their face.
How about like tingly, like
tingle? Yes.
Yeah.
Like a grandfather hug or a grandma hug. This energy that,
bumps. Yep.
Yeah, that, they really felt like an ancestor was with them. Instantly after hugging a tree, they were just like, I felt my grandmother. And like tears, and it's like, oh, honey, like, they are with you, walking with you, and the energy is just, it's here to move you. If we can slow down enough, like we were saying, if we can put our phones down enough, your ancestor, you'll see the signs, you'll see all.
Well, they're all around you, and you and I, I mean, you really helped me kind of, and sharing a lot of things when my dad passed in a really crazy time, and the things that you were getting that was coming in, and the little things that you created for me, and that owl that I've now seen like 4 times, and it's just like, and the space, like when I literally stop and I just connect, I mean, whether it's my dad or my grandma or other people or other spirits that are around me, they're talking to us all the time. But sometimes, just like that, like the interaction with a tree or with an animal, it can be so intense, and I think that scares people. And I think it's more intense sometimes the more disconnected we are, and the more that we need it, right? That owl, the last time I saw him, it was the most beautiful experience. He's hopping from fence post to fence post and flying and showing me his magic and his wings, and so playful. And I'm like, hey, Dad, how's it going?
That's your dad.
And I was just like, I know, but I was like, I was driving along, and I remember thinking, God, I haven't seen the owl in a while. I'd love to see you again. And I was, it was just me coming from the family farm, and I look over on the fence, and he hadn't been in this area yet. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm stopping. And if I miss the ferry, I really don't care, because we're going to have an experience, and it was super fun. It was just like, same with that deer, like they look deep into your soul. They have something for you. It was reminding me of that, to be playful, to be present, to be aware, to have fun, to keep on keeping on, even though my heart is hurting. Oh, here we go. But just that reminder that he's always there, and he's showing me, like, it brings me so much emotion, because it's still raw, only being 6 months, but it's also so powerful when you get all of these connections and messages and tuning in. And like yesterday, I have to share this really quick too. I went out to a beautiful lake nearby, and I parked, and I spent some time there. And then when I was leaving, I was looking at this old farm that was there that I've just been eyeing up. And I was looking in the ditches, and all the dandelions were blooming, and these beautiful, like, baby blue flowers in amongst the yellow. And I'm wandering along, and then I cross the road, and I kind of come back, and it's way out in the country. And I come back, and I'm looking right in front of my truck. This beautiful little bird's nest must have fallen out of somewhere, and it's full of blue feathers.
Aww.
And it's just like they had made this little beautiful bird's nest out of blue feathers. I've seen the little bluebirds around, but not very often. But I'm like, it's like literally right in front of my truck, which is bright blue. And I'm like, this is interesting. So I took it home with me. I'm like, my mom's like, did you take it? I'm like, well, yes, I did. I sure did. I took it with me. But, it was just all those little, if I wasn't present and looking at the bumblebees and the flowers and the, all of the things that are so magical and blooming, I would have missed even that little gift, or the gift of the owl, or, whatever it is coming my way. And I think that's, when we're working with people and and bringing in new clients, and like you said, having these experiences and sharing them with your husband, I mean, mine is super amazing and supportive as well. And he's like, you just are so happy, you're not going, oh God, I got to go to work. And, because I really found in my field, and I've done it for 25 years in different parts of the therapy field, is that it became so much 75% was paperwork and statistics, and 25%, if I was lucky, was my time with the clients. And I'm like, this is not how people heal. Hell no. Right. So now I flipped it. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess we should do a confidentiality form, because, that would be important, and then I'm like, but you get my time, and, you don't get 50 minutes on the clock and I'm writing notes madly. Let's go have fun. And let's take 90 minutes. Let's take more. Let's do whatever it is. Healing is not like linear. It's not on a time clock. It's not like, oh, sorry, you're once a week for 50 minutes. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I've taken that and all these things you and I've talked about and combined them into something very intuitive and holistic and unique. And people, you see that I find the healing is happening faster. They're becoming more open. Some of them have been going to therapy for years and gone like, I don't know, I'm not better. I still have PTSD and depression and I can't sleep and I just feel like crap. And I've seen you for like a couple sessions and I'm like, well, awesome. Like I'm excited, and just to see that when I can give that gift and share that space and energy, just like you are with the people you're working with, it's like, it's magical. It's just like we sprinkle them with fairy dust or something. I don't know.
You're like prescribing nature.
Yes. Like what the heck? Need our notepad.
And it's so simple and it's all around us. Yeah. And that's how simple it is.
Yes.
We don't need all of these drugs and medications to suppress us.
No.
And, it's so basic. It's so easy, but people don't see it because they think they're trying to figure it out. They think that it's some big mission that they need to unlock. And it's really just you tapping in. So yeah, you are definitely just, leading people down this beautiful journey of figuring out that they don't need all of these old systems of, counseling. They just need to be with somebody who's free flowing and be in nature, which is so freaking awesome.
It's so fun, isn't it? Like, it's just, like I said, you glow and I feel like I glow, and it's just like, damn, like you don't have any idea, where things are going to lead you, the people that come in, that, all of these things that happen. And you're just like I wake up every morning and I'm just like, who am I going to meet today? What's going to happen? Like, I'm excited because, we're going to have this, experience or this, whatever it is that's just going to come and greet us. And we're very open to that. And I think, like that's something is really neat, and like I said, being born and raised here, and everybody knew you in your small community and is going like, what the, she's going like left field here. But now people are going, oh my God, Amanda, like this is amazing stuff. And as they're getting people now.
Yeah, they're getting a lot more now, especially since the pandemic. I feel that it's really given people time to stop, time to slow down, and time
That's
to
the
look
gift.
around.
Yeah.
And people now are like, oh my God, like you are 6 months ahead. I totally know that my guides and the universe were setting me up 6 months before the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
It is clear to me that I am meant to lead people on this beautiful, deep experience of connecting them with spiritual healing and nature. While we're still recovering out of the recompressions of the pandemic. So, and even when people are here and I'll do a reading and their ancestors or a family member or a loved one comes through and, I'll let them know, hey, you know what, you're going to see an eagle, or a fox. So be aware of that. And they kind of look at me like, okay, you know.
Yeah.
And then literally a couple days later, they're on the phone and they're messaging me and they're like, oh my gosh, Amanda, I seen a fox, or I seen an eagle, or whatever that animal was. And I'm like, well, that is, you know, that's your grandma, or that's your grandpa, whoever that
Yeah.
person was that came through. You know, they're really showing you that they're there with you, and you might see them in different forms.
Yeah.
You know, my Oma always is sending me pineapples. My Oma sends me pineapples whenever I'm shopping, whenever I even got one in my vegetable fruit basket this week. I was like, oh, pineapple. So when you're paying attention, you will see those signs. It's those loved ones. They want to show you, they want you to connect with them.
Yeah.
So you don't need to go to their grave site to talk to them. They are literally all around you all the time.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
It is. And I think that's, you know, that's the nice thing too, is as people realize that it doesn't have to be in a set place at a set time, at a set way. It can be, you know, very open and it's very vast, and it travels with you, you know, souls travel. This is just we get this physical body to have this experience here, but the souls, they're not far, you know, and they're always playful and traveling around and trying to get our attention. And so, you know, we're here to help be those guides for them to tune back into that physical person that is here, to be able to do that healing. You know, they can kind of see their loved one here that's still on this planet going, you know, like, I really want to help them. I want to nurture them. I don't want them to suffer. I want them to find their way and find their light and find that joy again, you know, because they can see things in a very different way that is, you know, it's just not the same as this physical experience. So it's really cool that we get to, and this is what we get to do daily, is bring people to that too, through all of the things that we do. Just having that connection, that energetic connection on so many levels. So
I really feel if you're not answering the call of your soul and you're not really paying attention, you are always going to feel like something is missing, or your soul is craving something that you can't put your finger on. And I know what that was like. And I still see, you know, women to this day, that my clients that that I coach, that, you know, they're still trying to figure it all out. And even at that stage, it's beautiful to know that they're being more aware, because the awareness is everything. And when they slow down and they're aware, they're able to tap in to your soul's purpose. But that's what we're here for. We're here to be cracked open. We need our hearts open. We're here to, you know, love abundantly and share our gifts. And we all have such unique gifts. And I think that I feel like the world's waking up. We're all these light workers and star seeds. We are all coming together and shining our light and holding space, you know, for people that are feeling lost, or people that are feeling, I know what that feeling is. It's awful, feeling depressed and feeling lost and feeling like you don't know where your place is in this world. And you're just not sure whether to go right or whether to go left. And it can be a very overwhelming, lonely. It can feel very lonely when you're in that headspace. So I think you and I both offer this beautiful holding this space for men and women, just to, well, I only see women, but you see men and women, right?
Mostly right now it's women. Women and youth. So
but holding that space for them to really get a feel for what does their soul really crave. And when I hold space for like women in a circle, you know, that's really new in this area. Women holding being in a circle holding hands and, meditating, saying a mantra or anything. That is super new in this area. It feels awkward, it feels weird, but when they flow into it and when they connect into it and they breathe and they feel, it's like they start craving it. They're like, oh my gosh, I want more of this. I love this feeling of connecting with other souls. So
magic.
It is.
So if I'm going to share all of your information, your website and Instagram and Facebook, all that kind of stuff in the notes for everybody to kind of get in touch with you if they've got more questions or they want to, reach out and, just find out more about this magical stuff. They do have a reading, have a sound experience, any of that stuff. What would you leave everybody with? Like if somebody's, searching and they're kind of stumbling along and, they know they want to do some healing, but they just don't know, like, what could you give them that would inspire them to be okay with trying something different and new?
Well, carving out the time for yourself and for your soul, and just basically I would start with something so simple by just placing your hand on your heart and just feeling that breath, feeling the belly inhaling and exhaling, feeling the lungs filling up and releasing, and connecting just to your breath, and maybe even just listening to what is around outside for even just 2 minutes. I do that with little ones because their attention span is a little bit shorter, even a minute. But tapping into what can they hear, what can they see, what can they smell, all of those 5 senses, what can they taste, and what can they touch. So those senses are huge. So just connecting with your breath and closing your eyes, opening your eyes for 1 to 2 minutes, and then just writing down, like, what is it that you heard? Oh, I heard a bird. Oh, I heard an airplane. Oh, I heard a chainsaw. Oh, I heard someone's car door shut. So how much awareness can you bring in that 1 minute? What can you really listen to? Because that's all about bringing the awareness to the table, right? And once you're aware in 2 minutes of what you can really break down and hear and see, it will start to slowly open you. It'll slow you down, but it'll make you more present in the moment. And I love telling people to do like a 60-hour off social media, shut the phone off for 60 hours. If you can, start small. If 60 hours is too long, even just a good 8 hours or 5 hours, shut your phone off, disconnect, and do a little challenge. I love doing those. I feel so much more refreshed, connected, and I feel so much more present in my day with whoever I'm spending my day with. So
do you walk people through that? Like if somebody was going, okay, I'd like to figure out how to do that. How do I do that? Like just having that, give them some tools or some ideas how they could get through, whether it is a, 30 or 60 hour disconnect to reconnect to self. Is that something?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in my signature program that is going to be released this fall. So I really get you to do a few little mini rituals and challenges because I don't think people are aware of how much we're connected with social media and how much we're addicted to it. And it's just like, it's a habit now. It's like on autopilot. So we really need to take a small chunk, even if it's 6 hours or 8 hours. I worked my way up to 60 hours, so I can now officially do 60 hours, but it took some time. It's crazy how addicted we are. I have to shut off my phone and put it in my car and like put it in my glove box or give it to my husband and say, can you just hide this? Because I'll be like, it's just like you just go and grab it and turn it on and just start scrolling through.
Well, it's an addiction, right? Like, and it is and it's, now we want to kind of develop that healthy addiction to nature, to back to ourselves, and that, Yeah, that'll be really fascinating. So you got people will stay, stay in touch and stay aware that you're going to be releasing this new program. I'm excited to see how that unfolds in the fall. And oh my God, like what an amazing space. Thank you for sharing this space. I think we could probably talk for hours on it. And it just, I love connecting with people that are doing very similar work because we're learning from each other. We're sharing energy, we're exchanging, we're doing all these beautiful things. I've got a few years on you, so I'm a little bit kind of ahead in as far as if we want to put a number. But it's neat to see everybody, like we kind of started, mine was kind of, I've been in the field for so long, but in 2019 was kind of like, damn, I'm doing this, like I'm birthing this thing at the Christmas, I was developing and I always wanted to do it. So it'd always been there. And then I just finally got the courage, and just like that little Thomas the engine, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And finally, you get to the top of the hill and you're like, all right, let's go. And, it was such a beautiful thing that evolved. Just same thing just before our crazy world turned upside down. And now I'm finding actually really it's starting to come into flow as I nurture it and as the world starts to open up, and like all of these people are looking for alternative ways and different things. People are searching, they're seeking, they're wanting more of this fun, good stuff that we do. So we get to hold that space. This is the work that we do every day. Like you said, it feels like we don't really work, but we do. We work hard, and it's not easy. It's we are constantly evolving and growing ourselves and doing our own stuff behind the scenes that people don't see. It takes a lot, and to hold this container for people to come and do the work. We have a lot that we're doing as well. So I'm so blessed to know you and to have you here and to be a part of your groups and things like that. I wish I could get there and be able to do some things in person, but it'll come in time. And
I feel the same way. I love that I connected with somebody who is doing nature stuff, the same as I am. And I'm like, this girl, like, wait a minute. And that's how we kind of connected, just through social media. I was like, this girl is like walking with people through nature and she's connecting them. And I was just so pumped. It was the same thing. I was like, I'm so excited someone is doing something that I'm doing, because it's not, it's not overly common right now.
No.
But I feel that it's going to be. I feel that like in the next 5 years, we're going to see healing centers, nature healing centers everywhere, all over the world, because people literally want to be connected to stuff that lights up their soul. They are so done with the fake connections. They're so done with anything that isn't serving them anymore. People are really ready to connect, have fun, light their soul up. And yes, I'm super excited to see what happens for both of us in the next couple of years. So
yeah, it's I don't know, it's just so neat to be on this journey. Like it's exciting, and it's just, I don't know, amazing is not the right word, but it's what comes in. It's just, even as I was sitting here for you, a little bit ago, it was starting to sprinkle rain. Now the sun is shining. The lake is like glass. I have to show you, I have to turn you.
Oh my goodness. Yes. It's so pretty there.
I've got getting the sun energy. I'm it's reviving me. I just get to go and experience that. So
awesome.
There we go. So yeah, I will we'll stay connected. I will share all your great information, and I'm looking forward to our next many conversations, because we're not done. We got lots to talk about, lots to experience together. And I think you and I've kind of talked a bit about too, collabing on some different things, and so that will come in time when we're ready and things align, and that will be virtual, because that's how it just is going to work. And we can take people through some virtual retreats and healing and whatever it is that we're going to come up with. We'll know what that is when we're ready, but we've opened that container too for ourselves. So I'm excited for that, and just so grateful. My heart is full, and I'm just so glad to have you here today.
Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share with your guests and your following, something that I do way over in Ontario. And yeah, I'm so grateful and honored to, have another human being that wants to share something that
Mhm.
I'm doing, because it lights you up. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about, support, talk about,
Yeah.
really paving the way of this new frequency of,
Yeah.
babes supporting babes and women supporting women. And
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that we're going to see more and more of that as the
Yeah.
years go by. So
Yeah. So exciting times. It's so amazing. All right, my dear. Well, I will let you go till next time.
okay, sounds good.
Oh, wow. What an amazing conversation with Amanda Marie at Nature Babes in Ontario, Canada. And we just connect on so many levels. It's just great to, sit and have a chat with somebody who's in a similar field to you, but yet we're doing very different work, but yet similar, if that makes any sense. So to connect with her, if you go to naturebabes.ca, she's also on Facebook and on Instagram and YouTube, and has just so many amazing things. If you check out her website, you can see the work she does, kind of get to know who she is, read some of the testimonials. She's just starting to offer online, more virtual sound bath healing is just coming up. She does customize individual and small group retreats on her beautiful acreage farm on the Saugeen River. And the options are endless. So if you're looking to heal and to nurture your mind, your body, and your soul, and find a place for it to just breathe, I highly recommend getting in touch with her now and seeing where the path will lead you. She is there to walk along this journey with you and to guide you into your deepest healing. Thanks again for tuning in to Roots to Wellness podcast. We love having you here. Don't forget to subscribe and share away so that we can get more of this amazing candid conversations and information out there to the greater world. We appreciate you so very, very much and have the most amazing day. Lots of love.